things are starting to really heat up now as we get ready to have a competitive, strong squad in time for the Club World Cup, and these options are leading the race. My friends, more big reports to get through. It seems like this summer is going to be jam-packed with stories, so I hope you guys enjoy and stay with me on Blue Lions TV. Hit the sub button, hit the notification button, and let's get straight into things. We are learning from French reports that we have finally made initial contact with Juventus over the potential signing of Kenan Yildiz. I'm going to give you guys the full scoop behind how this article was and what it broke down. And essentially, we want to get these big boys in before the start of the Club World Cup. We won't sign everyone, but ideally, if we can sign a striker, a centre-back, and another attacking player in time for the Club World Cup, this could set us up beautifully because we have big ambitions to go as deep and as far into this tournament as possible because the cash prizes you can win are absolutely ridiculous. And I think this is a calculated gamble, which probably makes sense with the context of where we are right now. In the article, it does reveal that we are cautiously optimistic about this project, but persistently frustrated by the pacing in which things are developing every season. This has led to us now realizing that we must have a focused window, signing specialized options to help the squad. We are set to cut down the squad even more, which we must do. And other reports also claim that it seems like, fingers crossed, we could be working in tandem now with Maresca. I've said a million times, this experiment of signing these 8/10 style players wasted everyone's time. It wasted the director's time for funding these moves. It wasted the players' times because they can't play their best football, and it's wasted Maresca's time because he feels like if he has to adapt and use these guys in the team, it's just going to slow down the overall process that he wants for the first team to have with his ideas. So next season, wingers will be the star attacking guys and no more 10 style players, which I think all of us can accept right now, keeping it real. But Juventus also originally had plans for Kenan Yildiz to be the star of their new projects. Now, this summer will be a pretty monumental summer for Juventus because they're realizing that they must make the right sacrifices to help improve the overall quality of the team. They're looking at sending stars like Vlahovic, of course Buoni, ending his loan spell, Chiesa, and a few other players as they target options such as Lookman, Osimhen, Retegui, and even more. But it does seem like if Yildiz is potentially going to leave, it will require serious money because Igor Tudor has been introducing him more consistently back in their first team. And since international break was over, Yildiz has scored 2 out of the last 3 games for Juventus, which kind of summarizes how he is seen. However, going back to the reports that broke the story, they revealed we have finally made initial contact with Juventus and with the player himself. Now, Yildiz's contract does expire in 2 years' time, and at the moment, Juventus are keen on agreeing to a contract extension which dramatically improves his wages, but also inserts a release clause. For us, that doesn't work in our favour. We would hope to potentially tie down a deal before any release clause gets inserted, and the report does reveal this, but due to our efforts and willingness to push for a move, we may in fact be changing Yildiz's opinion around his future. Now, we have had many discussions with his agent now over the last few months. I've discussed and broken down those reports. And as I mentioned, Juventus must make the right sacrifices to help their overall squad. And see it from this perspective, if they cash in on Yildiz, they could earn serious money, serious pure profit, serious PSR profit, which could allow them to really improve their squad even more, as their dream option would be to sign Lookman and Osimhen. Now, I feel like due to original reports revealing a few months back that we had held, meetings with his parents, this news breaking today that we've had initial contact, I don't think this comes without us getting maybe some confidence from the player's entourage himself and his agent over the possibility of us having a chance to sign him this summer. It simply comes down to how much money Juventus were to accept for a sale. And my thing would be this: if Juventus end up securing CL football, as they're currently fourth in the table right now, for them, that could allow them, of course, to ask for more money. Ideally for us, they don't get CL football, which means his price dramatically comes down and maybe things get a little bit easier when it comes to signing him. However, my friends, ignoring the reports and ending it on this, do we need yet again another wonder kid on the left wing? Kenda is coming in 1 year's time. This is like one of the top premium teen talents in the world. Do we need to recreate this Pulisic times Hudson-Odoi competition, which didn't really benefit any of them? And would it not help the overall quality of this team now to maybe target someone who is about to reach this peaking stage in his career? And I'm looking at an option like Nico Williams, for example. Again, a lot of conversation to have because it seems we are still very much interested in signing the best young talents, even though we now know that we would also sign experience if the right moves materialize. So yeah, man, a lot to unpack with the story. How do you feel about this? Is Yildiz kind of like Huijsen, just so good and so exciting that if you have the chance to sign him, you must take it? Or do you feel like, Nini, this is a bit of overkill and it's not making too much sense now? Tell us how you are feeling. And this is where we discuss even more updates surrounding Dean Huijsen. As you guys should know from watching today's earlier reports, we are currently the favourites to sign Huijsen outside of any club in Europe right now. Things are developing really well. And in this update, I'm going to break down more insight we're learning from both Matt Law and the Daily Mail. And I thought it was pretty good stuff that you guys would like to understand and know about. I'm going to share the news first before I give my thoughts and opinions. And as Matt Law reveals, Maresca has played a key part in wanting to see Dean Huijsen play for him. He feels like he would be the best complement for Wesley Fofana. But I'll break down the context behind what this means. That doesn't mean necessarily he would partner Fofana in his ideal back two. But he means that due to not having Fofana on a consistent basis, he wants a similar style player that can play on the front foot, excels at playing out from the back, but most importantly, can also carry the ball out and kickstart moves. Huijsen is incredible at doing that. And this is one of Wesley Fofana's best attributes in this game. So this makes a lot of sense for what he needs. Of course, crucial is the ability to play out from the back. He loves the fact that he can equally play on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, more versatile options. And he's also seen as someone, as I was saying, who can provide ability during Fofana's absences. Our plan for Huijsen has really attracted him to wanting to sign for us, irrespective of European football, Champions League football, which is a big thing. The kid, I think, has only turned 20 years old. I think development at this stage of his career is the most important thing himself, his dad, and his team are caring about right now. Of course, as I was revealing in the first reports on him, we have a very strong relationship with his agent, Ali Barat, who is the owner of, I think, Top's agency. He played an instrumental part in securing Caicedo to Chelsea Football Club, being in Liverpool, and he's had experience, of course, signing other players for us over the years. So this was going to give us a massive advantage over most of the competition. But we also learned that if anything doesn't materialize with this move, we're looking at other options. Mario, Jerome Hato, who I predicted would be a player we look at. But now that Ishe Samuel Smith has signed a new deal, is he really needed? I'm not too sure. And the surprise one being Jared Branthwaite from Everton, but I don't personally understand that one. Now, the Mail also provides us more context around this deal. Of course, due to our strong relations with Bournemouth, relations that have grown over the years, especially with the deal that allowed Kepa to sign for them. Out of respect for them, we will officially present our first bids at the end of the season. I think that's fair. But at this moment, it seems very likely. There's a lot of confidence that Huijsen will be one of the first players we sign in this window, and we are set to exercise his release clause. Now, I'm going to share some of my thoughts and opinions to end this story. On one hand, we've seen that Bournemouth have expressed interest prior for Ronaldo Vega, and due to the relations we have, if we were to pay the full release clause for Huijsen, ideally, I hope there's a situation where maybe Bournemouth get first dibs on signing one of our players. Maybe that makes sense. Could they even maybe sign Mainoo on loan? Because I think the big question is, how do we now create this defensive balance in the group? Of course, Mainoo, Achimpong is still here. Samuel Smith, reports believe that he is set to remain here for next season. That's a lot of youth talent. And they're battling for minutes alongside Corwall, Fofana, Badia. And of course, the fact that we have to use an inverted fullback in the team. So there aren't many positions available right now. At the moment, it seems like next season would be Sarr, Corwall, Huijsen, Fofana as guarantees to remain here. And for the fifth option, could that be Badia, Chalobah? In my opinion, it will be whoever isn't able to get a move. I think that's how things are set to be. Could that be Achimpong? Potentially, but then I think to myself, maybe he just needs consistent minutes in a loan move right now. And I wonder how he feels now after signing a long-term deal and knowing that we're literally signing one of his age mates who is only a year ahead of him to compete for first team minutes ahead of him. Now, of course, there's a lot of exciting potential here. I think for most of us, we're thinking about the build-up quartet, that little box of Corwall, Huijsen, Lavia, Caicedo. That could be, wow. There's a bit of a spine forming there. If you're Huijsen, you think to yourself, I can take Fofana's position. And I say this because for myself, Fofana's missed out nearly 3 years of football due to long-term injuries. He's 24 years old right now. And I feel like he plays with the experience of a 21-year-old due to missing out on so much football education. I mean, even this season, he's shown his promise. He's shown how, between himself and Levi Cole, they had a very complementary partnership that was starting to grow. It's a big shame that they couldn't consistently just fine-tune that partnership. That could have been helpful for us. But I do feel like even though Fofana has been missed, I do think that his miss was kind of over-exaggerated a little bit, because I personally feel like due to missing out on so much football, there is this kind of youthful inexperience that is still naturally part of his game. I mean, see it like this. In 14 games he's made so far this season, he's picked up 7 yellow cards. It's like 1 yellow card in every 2 games. And he's given away a penalty. At times, he's putting us under pressure with free kicks. He's mistiming his tackles. And he kind of gets himself in these positions where he gets hit by contact because he's overextending himself when he tackles sometimes. And I don't know. I just feel like this is why he finds himself in these kind of unfortunate positions. So, yeah, I think Huijsen would be an exciting move. But again, I just don't know. I mean, do we need like another youth talent when we have Mainoo, Achimpong, Samuel Smith, Sarr, and all these guys already? Would it have been better balanced to take the L on Huijsen and maybe go for experience? That will forever be the question that none of us have answers to, but maybe we just have this sneaking suspicion matters the most. But anyway, that's my take on the conversation. Share your thoughts and opinions below. Is Huijsen the guy? Or do you still have a few reservations, man? Tell us in the comments. And for the final reports, yet again, more links resurface around Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho. Both players have never left our shortlist, and there was a big behind full scoop briefing around Man United from the Daily Mail. Uniteds are hoping to complete a double deal for both Cunha and Liam Delap for around 92.5 million. They want to use these guys in Amarim's 3-4-3 system. That's what they're really gearing up towards at the moment. And it does seem like United are going to make the correct sacrifices to not only accelerate the needs of Amarim, a manager that they're really strongly backing. And that means they would be open to selling academy grads due to the fact they can get pure profit for their sales to help with the restructuring. Outside of the favourites such as Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho, you're looking at the potential sales of Rashford. You're looking at Casemiro leaving. Now, Napoli still retains strong interest in Garnacho. Let's see what happens there. But as we've been learning, Paul Winstonley has always been quite a big fan of Garnacho. I guess it's due to his Prem experience, amount of games he plays, his box entries, the fact that even though he is quite frustrating naturally at his age, and I wouldn't sign him, I'm going to let you guys know that. I can't tell you that Garnacho is a flop in the making because, not many 20-year-olds are doing this. And we need to lose this notion that, you have to perform at like a Mbappe Neymar, Messi level at 20 years old to be worth the hype and worth the talent. The game doesn't work like that. For most players that eventually become world class when they peak, they typically have these inconsistent seasons. It's just how the game works. But I have to say, I'm a bit worried. Ideally, do I want to help fund moves for Man United by signing some of their players? Absolutely not. Because I kind of think United have a pretty decent situation on their hands. If they win the Europa League, they automatically get Champions League football, irrespective of their league form. So in one hand, does their league form really matter that much? I mean, there's literally nothing to play for, and they can put their full focus and priorities on the Europa League, because if they win that, they get CL and they end the season on a massive high. Personally not. I wouldn't make that move. I'm not going to help strengthen my rivals. The same thing goes for Kobbie Mainoo. I just feel like we already quite stacked in midfield, and you're only making a move for Mainoo if you're looking to make some big sacrifices. I hope that would never be in the form of Andre Santos. Would that maybe like a massive hit on an Enzo Fernandez if Real Madrid came circling? We just don't know. But once the season ends and European places in sports are finally revealed, this will ultimately make the biggest difference behind what we can do in this market and how badly we're going to be affected by things. So let's watch this space. But I guess it's never that encouraging knowing that Winston Lee has already asked Man United now for figures and numbers around the deal. This isn't just towards Man United, but also towards the player himself. And on one hand, as I'm saying, if we don't get CL football, maybe say goodbye to your top 1, top 2, top 3 options. And then options like Garnacho become a bit more attainable in the market because, listen, if he leaves Man United, he won't be going to Barcelona and he won't be automatically playing for a CL team unless he goes to another country. So I guess we apprehensively pay attention to the story and hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't find ourselves dipping our toes for Man United's academy players. So my friends, that is the latest news reports for today. A lot of news has come out, so I hope you guys enjoy and stay up to date because you guys know I like to go through all the details. I like to summarize things for you. I want you guys to always just get the full picture behind news reports every single day in a very streamlined and easy to follow fashion. So if you guys appreciate that, show us some love with the like button, and I will catch you guys tomorrow with my video on Dean Huijsen, and I have a few YouTube shorts coming out too. So stay tuned. Lots of love. Cool.